Saturday, June 20th, 2026. Today's World News Headline Summary. 1. CNN. 1-1. Renewed ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon amid U.S.-Iran talks. Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah have agreed to renew a ceasefire following a period of intense cross-border strikes. The recent escalation, which included an attack on an Israeli tank that killed 4 soldiers, prompted widespread retaliatory airstrikes across southern Lebanon and the Bekaa Valley. This violent flare-up severely threatened to derail the broader 60-day peace negotiations between the United States and Iran. Consequently, international mediators from the U.S., Qatar, and Pakistan stepped in rapidly to salvage the diplomatic process. Iran demanded explicit guarantees that hostilities in Lebanon would cease before resuming high-level discussions in Switzerland, emphasizing that the cessation of the Lebanon conflict is a foundational condition of the overall Memorandum of Understanding. A senior U.S. official noted that the viability of this truce heavily depends on Hezbollah adhering strictly to the agreed terms. Vocabulary. Ceasefire. Noun. Hyujun, Chongjun. The two nations agreed to a temporary ceasefire. Militant. Adjective/noun. 공격적인, 무장단체. The militant group claimed responsibility. Escalation. Noun. 단계적 확대, 악화. We must prevent any further escalation. Retaliatory. Adjective. 보복적인. The military launched a retaliatory strike. Derail. Verb. 무산시키다, 틀어지게 하다. The scandal could derail his career. Salvage. Verb. 구조하다, 회복하다. They tried to salvage the peace talks. Hostility. Noun. 적대감, 교전. All hostilities must cease immediately. Viability. Noun. 실행 가능성, 생존 능력. The economic viability of the project is uncertain. 시사용어 해설. MOU. Memorandum of Understanding. 양해각서. 정식 조약을 맺기 전에 양측이 합의한 내용을 기록한 문서로 법적 구속력은 약하지만 국가 간 협상의 중요한 첫 단계입니다. 프록시, 대리인, 대리세력. 강대국이 직접 전쟁에 참여하지 않고 자신들의 이익을 대변하는 무장단체나 제3국을 지원하여 싸우게 하는 것을 대리전, 프록시워라고 하며 헤즈볼라가 대표적인 이란의 대리세력으로 불립니다.
1-2. Over 1 billion barrels of oil missing during Iran war. A recent analysis by the analytics firm Kepler estimates that an astonishing 1.15 billion barrels of oil have gone missing from global markets over the nearly 4-month conflict with Iran. This massive disruption represents a permanent loss of supply, triggering significant concerns about global energy stability and price volatility. The supply shock has heavily drained reserves, particularly in critical storage hubs like Cushing, Oklahoma. Analysts point out that simply reopening the Strait of Hormuz will not immediately rectify the deficit. Even with a projected oversupply of 5 million barrels per day once production fully resumes, the International Energy Agency forecasts it will take approximately 230 days to replenish the missing stock completely. This protracted recovery period suggests that higher oil prices may persist in the near term. Vocabulary. Analytics. Noun. 분석학, 분석 정보. The analytics firm provided new market data. Volatility. Noun. 변동성. Investors are worried about market volatility. Disruption. Noun. 붕괴, 차질. The storm caused a major disruption to travel. Drain. Verb. 고갈시키다, 물을 빼다. The long war drained the country's resources. Deficit. Noun. 적자, 부족액. The government is trying to reduce the budget deficit. Oversupply. Noun. 초과 공급. An oversupply of crops led to falling prices. Replenish. Verb. 다시 채우다. 보충하다. Drink water to replenish your fluids after a workout. Protracted. Adjective. 오래 끄는. 지연된. The protracted negotiations finally ended yesterday. 시사용어 해설. Strategic reserves. 전략 비축유. 국가가 전쟁, 자연재해, 심각한 공급망 붕괴 등 비상사태에 대비하여 미리 대량으로 저장해두는 원유입니다. Oversupply. 초과 공급. 시장에서 소비자들이 필요로 하는 수요, demand, 보다 기업이 제공하는 공급, supply가 더 많은 상태로 일반적으로 가격 하락을 유도합니다.
13-3. New acting intel chief eyes firing hundreds of DNI workers. Bill Pulte, the newly appointed acting director of National Intelligence, DNI, is reportedly contemplating the dismissal of hundreds of workers from the intelligence agency. Arriving early for his first days on the job, the controversial appointee has immediately set his sights on executing massive job cuts to streamline operations. This abrupt administrative overhaul aligns with the Trump administration's broader push to aggressively restructure federal agencies and eliminate perceived bureaucratic bloat. However, the prospect of mass firings has sparked significant alarm among both Democratic and Republican lawmakers. Critics warn that decapitating the workforce of a crucial intelligence hub could severely undermine national security and destabilize the ongoing flow of critical geopolitical assessments. Vocabulary. Appoint. Verb. 임명하다. The board will appoint a new CEO next week. Contemplate. Verb. 심사숙고하다. 고려하다. He is contemplating a career change. Dismissal. Noun. 해고, 묵살. The manager announced the dismissal of 3 employees. Streamline. Verb. 간소화하다, 능률화하다. They plan to streamline the manufacturing process. Overhaul. Noun. 전면 개편, 철저한 점검. The healthcare system requires a complete overhaul. Bureaucratic. Adjective. 관료주의적인. The project was delayed by bureaucratic hurdles. Decapitate. Verb. 목을 베다. 조직의 지도부를 제거하다. The strike aimed to decapitate the enemy's command structure. Undermine. Verb. 약화시키다. 훼손하다. Constant criticism will undermine her confidence. DNI. Director of National Intelligence, 국가정보국장. CIA, 중앙정보국. FBI, 연방수사국을 포함한 미국의 16개 정보기관을 총괄하고 지휘하는 최고 정보 책임자입니다. Bureaucratic bloat. 관료주의적 비대화. 정부나 대기업의 조직이 지나치게 커지고 절차가 복잡해져서 의사결정이 느려지고 비효율성이 발생하는 현상을 의미합니다.
BBC 2-1. Labour's Andy Burnham wins Makerfield by-election. Labour's Andy Burnham, the incumbent mayor of Greater Manchester, has decisively won the special parliamentary by-election in Makerfield, securing nearly 55% of the vote. Burnham comfortably defeated candidates from the anti-immigration Reform UK party, cementing his status as a major political force and a top contender to replace Keir Starmer as leader of the Labour Party. His triumphant return to the 650-seat House of Commons is highly unusual, as the by-election was deliberately triggered by the resignation of a sitting MP specifically to facilitate Burnham's parliamentary comeback. In his victory speech, Burnham stated that everyone knows that politics isn't working, signaling a sharp critique of the current leadership. While Prime Minister Starmer insists he will fight any leadership challenge, political analysts suggest the pressure on him will now become increasingly difficult to resist. Vocabulary. Incumbent. Adjective/noun. 현직에, 현직자. The incumbent mayor is running for re-election. By-election. Noun. 보궐선거. A by-election was held to fill the vacant seat. Decisively. Adverb. 단호히, 결정적으로. She decisively won the argument. Cement. Verb. 확고하게 하다, 굳히다. The victory cemented his reputation as a great leader. Contender. Noun. 도전자, 경쟁자. He's a leading contender for the gold medal. Deliberately. Adverb. 의도적으로. I think he deliberately ignored my question. Comeback. Noun. 복귀, 재기. The band is making a huge comeback this year. Resist. Verb. 저항하다, 견디다. He couldn't resist the temptation to eat the cake. 시사용어 해설. By-election. 보궐선거. 정해진 총선 기간이 아님에도 불구하고 현직 의원의 사임이나 사망으로 의석이 비었을 때 그 자리를 채우기 위해 치러지는 선거입니다. House of Commons. 하원. 영국의 의회는 상원과 하원으로 나뉘는데 선거를 통해 국민의 대표로 선출되어 법률 제정과 예산 심의 등 실질적인 권한을 행사하는 곳이 하원입니다. 2-2. Ofcom defends BBC over Makerfield by-election coverage. Ofcom's election committee has published a formal decision rejecting a complaint against the BBC regarding its coverage of the Makerfield by-election on the program Question Time. The grievance was filed by the Restore Britain Party after their candidate, Rebecca Shepherd, was excluded from the televised panel. Ofcom ruled that the format of election programming inherently remains a matter of editorial freedom for broadcasters, provided they comply with the overarching broadcasting code. The committee concluded that the BBC's decision was reasonable, noting that the broadcaster sufficiently maintained due impartiality and gave appropriate weight to significant political views based on current electoral support. However, the regulator also reminded all broadcasters to continuously review the fast-changing political landscape to ensure fair representation throughout the election period. Vocabulary. Grievance. Noun. 불만, 고충. The union filed a grievance against the management. Exclude. Verb. 제외하다, 배제하다. Women were traditionally excluded from this club. Inherently. Adverb. 본질적으로. Skydiving is an inherently dangerous sport. Overarching. Adjective. 대단히 중요한, 포괄적인. The overarching goal is to improve education. Impartiality. Noun. 공정성, 치우치지 않음. The judge must maintain strict impartiality. Representation. Noun. 묘사, 대의권, 대표성. We need better representation of minorities in media. Regulator. Noun. 규제기관. The financial regulator imposed a fine on the bank. Fair. Adjective. 공정한, 타당한. Everyone deserves a fair trial. 시사용어 해설. Due impartiality. 적절한 공정성. 방송 등 언론 매체가 민감한 정치적, 사회적 쟁점을 다룰 때 한쪽의 입장에 치우치지 않고 객관적이고 중립적으로 보도해야 하는 원칙을 뜻합니다. Ofcom, Office of Communications, 영국의 방송, 통신, 우편 산업을 규제하고 감독하는 정부 독립기관으로 한국의 방송통신위원회와 비슷한 역할을 합니다. 2-3. Fatal train collision reported near Bedford, England. A severe transport accident occurred when two trains collided near Bedford, north of London, prompting a massive emergency response. Local UK police and emergency medical teams rapidly deployed to the scene following the high-impact crash. Preliminary reports indicate that the collision tragically resulted in at least one fatality and left several other passengers with varying degrees of injuries. Authorities have cordoned off the area and suspended rail services along the affected route to facilitate rescue operations and clear the debris. Transport regulators have immediately launched a comprehensive investigation to determine the exact cause of the collision, exploring potential mechanical failures or signaling errors. Vocabulary. Collision. Noun. 충돌. The collision occurred at a busy intersection. Prompt. Verb. 촉발하다, 재촉하다. The incident prompted a widespread investigation. Deploy. Verb. 배치하다, 파견하다. The general decided to deploy more troops to the border. Preliminary. Adjective. 예비해, 초기에. Preliminary results show the vaccine is effective. Fatality. Noun. 사망자, 수, 치사율. There were 0 fatalities in the plane crash. Cordon off. Phrasal verb. 경찰 등이 출입을 통제하다. Police cordoned off the crime scene immediately. Debris. Noun. 잔해, 쓰레기. The street was covered in debris after the storm. Defect. Noun. 결함, 하자. A manufacturing defect caused the machine to break. 시사용어 해설. Regulator. 규제기관. 철도나 항공과 같은 핵심 인프라 분야에서 안전수칙이 제대로 지켜지고 있는지 감시하고 사고 시 이를 조사하는 국가기관을 말합니다. Suspend. 운행 중단, 유예. 서비스나 활동을 일시적으로 멈추는 것을 의미하며 사고가 났을 때 안전을 위해 대중교통 운행을 보류할 때 자주 사용됩니다.
3. ABC Australia. 3.1. U.S. beats Australia 2-0 to advance to World Cup knockout round. The United States men's national soccer team decisively defeated Australia's Socceroos 2-0 in Seattle, securing their spot in the round of 32 at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Despite the notable absence of star forward Christian Pulisic due to a calf injury, the U.S. squad effectively executed an aggressive pressing strategy. The match's momentum shifted early in the 11th minute when a threatening cross from American striker Folarin Balogun forced Australian defender Cameron Burgess to inadvertently score an own goal. Just before halftime, Alex Freeman doubled the American lead with a close-range header, which was validated following a VAR review. Although Australia intensified their offensive play in the second half through tactical substitutions, they ultimately failed to break down the resolute U.S. defense. Vocabulary. Advance. Verb. 진출하다, 나아가다. The team advanced to the finals easily. Execute. Verb. 실행하다, 수행하다. The players executed the manager's plan perfectly. Inadvertently. Adverb. 무심코, 의도치 않게. He inadvertently deleted the important file. Validate. Verb. 입증하다, 승인하다. The referee used video footage to validate the goal. Intensify. Verb. 강화하다, 심화시키다. Police decided to intensify their search for the suspect. Tactical. Adjective. 전술적인. The coach made a brilliant tactical substitution. Resolute. Adjective. 단호한, 확고한. She remained resolute in her decision to quit. Defense. Noun. 수비, 방어. A strong defense is key to winning championships. 시사용어 해설. Knockout round. 결선 토너먼트. 조별리그에서 점수로 합산해 순위를 매기는 방식을 지나 경기에서 지면 바로 탈락하는 토너먼트 라운드, 16강, 8강 등을 뜻합니다. VAR, Video Assistant Referee. 경기장에 설치된 비디오 카메라 영상을 분석하여 주심의 판정을 돕는 비디오 판독 시스템입니다.
3-2. Australian housing market on the cusp of a downturn amid uncertainty. Prospective homebuyers in Australia are becoming increasingly hesitant to enter the property market as escalating interest rates severely curb their borrowing capacity. Financial experts warn that the Australian housing market is currently teetering on the cusp of a significant downturn driven by this widespread buyer uncertainty. As the central bank implements further rate hikes to combat inflation, mortgage affordability has plummeted, cooling down demand for residential real estate. High-profile economists have even raised alarms about a potential 2026 housing crash, arguing that property prices remain detached from average income realities. Consequently, many Australian families are reevaluating their long-term financial plans, deciding whether to buy now or wait for prices to potentially bottom out. Vocabulary. Perspective. Adjective. 장래에 유망한. We are showing the house to prospective buyers. Hesitant. Adjective. 주저하는, 망설이는. She was hesitant to accept the job offer. Curb. Verb. 억제하다, 제한하다. The government took steps to curb inflation. Teeter. Verb. 불안정하게 흔들리다. The company is teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. Downturn. Noun. 침체, 하락. The auto industry experienced a severe economic downturn. Plummet. Verb. 급락하다. Stock prices plummeted after the bad news. Detached. Adjective. 분리된, 무심한. His arguments seemed completely detached from reality. Bottom out. Phrasal verb. 바닥을 치다. Analysts believe the market will bottom out soon. 시사용어 해설. Interest rate hike. 금리 인상. 중앙은행이 물가 상승, 인플레이션을 잡기 위해 돈을 빌리는 대가를 높이는 조치입니다. 금리가 오르면 이자 부담이 커져 사람들이 대출을 덜 받게 됩니다. Mortgage affordability. 주택담보대출 감당 능력. 개인이 자신의 소득으로 주택을 사기 위해 빌린 돈의 원금과 이자를 무리 없이 갚아나갈 수 있는 능력을 뜻합니다.
Number 3. Australia breaking its carbon bond comes at a high cost. Australia is actively trying to break its deep-rooted carbon bond as the nation shifts its economic reliance away from fossil fuels. Historically, the country has heavily depended on coal mining and carbon-intensive exports for its economic growth. However, accelerating global climate change mandates have pushed the government to implement aggressive green energy transition policies. Analysts warn that severing this carbon bond comes at a staggering financial cost, as massive investments are required to construct renewable energy infrastructure and modernize the electrical grid. Furthermore, traditional energy sectors face substantial disruptions, raising widespread concerns about job losses and the economic viability of communities that have long depended on mining. Vocabulary. Reliance. Noun. 의존, 의지. The country's reliance on imported oil is a weakness. Deep-rooted. Adjective. 뿌리 깊은. Racism is a deep-rooted problem in that society. Mandate. Noun. 명령, 지시, 요구. The new environmental mandate requires fewer emissions. Sever. Verb. 자르다, 단절하다. They decided to sever all diplomatic ties. Staggering. Adjective. 충격적인, 엄청난. The hurricane caused a staggering amount of damage. Infrastructure. Noun. 기반시설. The government will spend billions on infrastructure. Disruption. Noun. 혼란, 붕괴. The strike caused massive disruption to the train network. Transition. Noun. 전환, 과도기. The transition to solar power will take several years. 시사용어 해설. Carbon bond. 탄소 결속, 의존성. 국가의 주요 산업과 일자리, 세수 등이 석탄이나 석유 같은 탄소 배출 자원에 끈끈하게 묶여 있어 이를 벗어나기 힘든 상태를 비유하는 말입니다. Renewable energy infrastructure. 재생에너지 인프라. 태양광, 풍력 발전소 등 친환경 에너지를 생산하고 이를 가정이나 공장으로 보내는 전력망, grid, 설비를 통틀어 일컫습니다. 4. The Korea Times. 4.1. North Korea accused of illegally broadcasting World Cup. North Korea is facing renewed allegations of copyright infringement after its state-run Korean Central Television, KCTV, broadcasted highlights of the 2026 FIFA World Cup without securing official broadcast rights. Reports indicate that Pyongyang pirated foreign satellite feeds, likely from neighboring countries like China, due to a lack of authorization from FIFA, football's governing body. Historically, South Korean networks secured broadcast rights for the entire Korean peninsula and generously ceded them to the North on humanitarian grounds. However, the South Korean government confirmed that no such unified contract was established for the current tournament. Strikingly, observers noted that KCTV aired the unedited footage, complete with U.S. commercials for brands like Coca-Cola and McDonald's, an unusual occurrence for the isolated state. Vocabulary. Allegation. Noun. 혐의, 주장. The mayor denied the allegations of corruption. Infringement. Noun. 침해. Piracy is a severe infringement of copyright law. Pirate. Verb. 불법 복제하다, 무단 도용하다. They pirated the software and sold it online. Authorization. Noun. 허가, 임가. Access to this file requires administrative authorization. Cede. Verb. 양도하다. The country was forced to cede territory after the war. Humanitarian. Adjective. 인도주의적인. The organization provided humanitarian aid to refugees. Unedited. Adjective. 편집되지 않은. The documentary featured unedited footage. Occurrence. Noun. 발생, 사건. Flooding is a rare occurrence in this region. 시사용어 해설. Copyright infringement. 저작권 침해. 타인이 막대한 비용을 들여 만든 방송 영상물 등을 정당한 대가를 지불하지 않고 몰래 가져다 쓰는 행위입니다. Humanitarian grounds, 인도적 차원. 정치적 이념이나 경제적 이익을 따지지 않고 사람들의 보편적인 즐거움이나 인권 보호를 위해 선의로 베푸는 명분을 뜻합니다.
4-2. Transfer buzz grows for Lee Kang-in and Lee Han-bum at World Cup. The opening week of the 2026 World Cup has sparked intense transfer speculation surrounding South Korean players Lee Kang-in and Lee Han-bum, with elite European clubs reportedly monitoring them closely. Spanish outlet Sport revealed that FC Barcelona's sporting director, Deco, recently held a meeting with Javi Garrido, Lee Kang-in's agent. During these talks, the 25-year-old Paris Saint-Germain midfielder's potential transfer heavily featured in the discussions. Although Barcelona has not yet made a formal bid, the Catalan club is actively tracking his development, alongside Atletico Madrid, which has also expressed keen interest. Currently, Transfermarkt places Lee Kang-in's market value at 28 million euros, solidifying his status as the highest valued player in Group A. Vocabulary. Speculation. Noun. 추측, 짐작. There is a lot of speculation about his future. Monitor. Verb. 추적 관찰하다. We need to closely monitor the patient's condition. Sporting director. Noun. 스포츠 구단의 단장. The sporting director controls the transfer budget. Feature. Verb. 특징으로 삼다. 주요하게 다루다. The magazine features an interview with the star. Bid. Noun. 입찰. 제안. The company made a formal bid for the contract. Track. Verb. 추적하다. Scientists track the movement of migratory birds. Solidify. Verb. 확고히 하다. 굳히다. The victory solidified their place at the top. Value. Verb. 가치를 평가하다. His artwork is valued at over $1 million. 시사 용어 해설. Formal bid. 공식 제안, 입찰. 스포츠에서 구단이 선수를 영입하기 위해 상대 구단에 공식적으로 제시하는 이적료 금액을 뜻합니다. Market value. 시장 가치, 몸값. 선수의 나이, 기량, 계약 기간 등을 종합적으로 고려하여 현재 이적 시장에서 얼마의 가치가 있는지 평가한 추정 금액입니다.
4-3. South Korean and Mexican fans share joy amid heat and defeat. Despite South Korea suffering a narrow 1-0 defeat to Mexico in their Group A World Cup match, the atmosphere between the opposing fans remained remarkably festive. Outside the Estadio Guadalajara in Zapopan, Mexico, vibrant crowds of both Korean and Mexican supporters gathered to celebrate the spirit of the tournament. Photographs captured heartwarming scenes of fans sharing traditional dances and local food, demonstrating a strong sense of camaraderie transcending national rivalries. Back in Seoul, massive crowds braved the sweltering heat to attend a public watch party at Gwanghwamun Square. Although the match ended in a loss for the Red Devils, the swelling cheers and resilient support for the national team continued unabated until the final whistle. Vocabulary. Suffer. Verb. 패배 등을 겪다. 고통받다. The team suffered a heavy defeat last night. Festive. Adjective. 축제. 즐거운. The streets were decorated with a festive atmosphere. Vibrant. Adjective. 활기찬, 생동감 넘치는. The city has a vibrant nightlife and culture. Camaraderie. Noun. 동지애, 우정. There is a great sense of camaraderie among the staff.
Transcend. Verb. 초월하다, 뛰어넘다. Music can transcend cultural boundaries. Sweltering. Adjective. 무더운, 찌는 듯이 더운. We stayed indoors during the sweltering afternoon. Resilient. Adjective. 회복력 있는, 굴하지 않는.
Children are remarkably resilient after a crisis. Unabated. Adjective. 수그러들지 않는. The storm continued unabated throughout the night. 시사용어 해설. 이 기사는 스포츠팬 문화에 관한 기사로 특수용어가 적지만 narrow defeat, 석패, 아쉬운 패배는 점수 차이가 겨우 1점 정도인 아슬아슬한 패배를 표현할 때 스포츠 기사에서 자주 쓰는 관용적 표현입니다.
5. The Korea Herald. 5-1. President Lee highlights U.S. role in breaking North Korea deadlock. President Lee Jae-myung emphasized that the United States must play a central role in reviving diplomatic efforts to break the ongoing deadlock with North Korea. Speaking after his return from the G7 summit in France, Lee detailed an extensive 90-minute conversation with U.S. President Donald Trump. Lee argued that demanding immediate, complete denuclearization leaves little room for negotiation, considering Pyongyang's advanced ballistic missile technology. Instead, he proposed a pragmatic, phased approach, beginning with a strict freeze on North Korea's production and transfer of nuclear materials. First, we should stop it, and then create conditions where both sides can judge that there is no further threat, Lee explained. During the talks, Lee also reaffirmed South Korea's commitment to acting as a sovereign state while shouldering shared security responsibilities within the alliance. Vocabulary. Deadlock. Noun. 교착 상태. The negotiations have reached a deadlock. Extensive. Adjective. 광범위한, 상세한. She has extensive experience in marketing. Denuclearization. Noun. 비핵화. Denuclearization of the peninsula is the ultimate goal. Pragmatic. Adjective. 실용적인. We need to take a pragmatic approach to the problem. Phased. Adjective. 단계적인. The government announced a phased reopening of borders. Freeze. Noun. Flash verb. 봉결, 봉결하다. The company announced a wage freeze for the year. Sovereign. Adjective. 주권의, 자주적인. The island declared itself a sovereign nation. Shoulder. Verb. 짊어지다. Parents shoulder the responsibility of raising children. 시사용어 해설. Deadlock. 교착 상태. 꽉 막힌 동요처럼 회의나 협상에서 양쪽의 의견이 팽팽히 맞서 더 이상 대화가 진전되지 않는 상태를 뜻합니다. Phased approach. 단계적 접근. 핵폐기라는 거대한 목표를 한 번에 요구하기보다 핵실험 중단, 핵시설 동결, 최종 폐기 등 순서대로 단계를 밟아나가는 외교적 협상 전략입니다.
5-2. BTS RM named face of Korea's National Museum. RM, the renowned leader of the global pop sensation BTS, has officially been named the first ever global ambassador for the National Museum of Korea. The prestigious Seoul-based institution cited the artist's profound and long-standing interest in traditional Korean culture and fine arts as the primary reason for his appointment. The rapper, whose real name is Kim Namjoon, previously donated 100 million won on multiple occasions to the Overseas Korean Cultural Heritage Foundation to help preserve cultural assets held abroad. At the appointment ceremony, the museum director gifted RM a special reproduction of the Daedong Yejido, an iconic 19th century map of the Korean peninsula. RM expressed his strong commitment to his new role, stating, "I want to do my part so that the beauty and value of our cultural heritage can reach more people." Vocabulary. Renowned. Adjective. 유명한, 명성 있는. The region is renowned for its excellent wine. Ambassador. Noun. 홍보대사, 대사. She was appointed as a goodwill ambassador for the UN. Prestigious. Adjective. 인류의, 권위 있는. Harvard is a highly prestigious university. Profound. Adjective. 깊은, 심오한. His speech had a profound impact on the audience. Asset. Noun. 자산, 재산. Intellectual property is a valuable asset. Reproduction. Noun. 복제본. The museum sells high-quality reproductions of paintings. Iconic. Adjective. 상징적인. The Eiffel Tower is an iconic landmark of Paris. Commitment. Noun. 약속. 헌신. The company showed a strong commitment to the environment. 시사 용어 해설. Cultural heritage. 문화유산. 조상들로부터 물려받아 미래 세대에게 물려주어야 할 역사적, 예술적, 학술적 가치가 높은 유형 및 무형의 문화적 자산을 뜻합니다.
5.3. Police investigating break-in at election ballot counting center. South Korean police have launched an investigation into an alleged break-in at a ballot counting center amid weeks-long protests calling for a rerun of the June 3 local elections. According to the facility's management, 3 unidentified individuals illegally entered the Olympic Park handball gymnasium by severely damaging a basement door lock. Surveillance footage captured the suspects filming the interior of the gym, which still housed sealed ballot boxes from the disrupted elections. In response to the intrusion, the management quickly welded the basement door shut to prevent further security breaches. However, video clips of the welding rapidly spread online, fueling unverified conspiracy theories that authorities maliciously intended to trap protesters inside the venue. Vocabulary. Break-in. Noun. 무단 침입. The police are investigating a break-in at the bank. Rerun. Noun. 재선거. 재방송. Protesters are demanding a rerun of the flawed election. Unidentified. Adjective. 신원 비상해. An unidentified object was seen flying in the sky. Surveillance. Noun. 감시. The parking lot is under 24-hour video surveillance. Disrupted. Adjective. 중단된. 혼란에 빠진. The storm left disrupted train services in its wake. Intrusion. Noun. 침입. 침해. The unauthorized access was a serious network intrusion. Weld. Verb. 용접하다. The workers welded the metal pipes together. Conspiracy theory. Noun. 음모론. He believes in a bizarre conspiracy theory about aliens. 시사 용어 해설. Ballot counting center. 개표소. 선거가 끝난 후 유권자들이 투표한 투표함, ballot box을 모아 표를 세고 최종 결과를 확인하는 공식 지정 장소입니다. Rerun. 재선거. 투표 과정에 심각한 오류, 부정, 또는 표 부족 사태 등 법적인 문제가 발생하여 선거 결과를 신뢰할 수 없을 때 선거를 처음부터 다시 치르는 것을 뜻합니다. 6. CGTN 6-1. U.S. and Iran confirm peace deal. Blockade lifted. The United States and Iran have officially confirmed the completion of a historic peace deal, marking a critical turning point in the Middle East conflict. As a gesture of goodwill leading up to the official June 19 signing in Switzerland, U.S. President Donald Trump authorized the immediate removal of the U.S. naval blockade against Iranian ports. Furthermore, the deal guarantees the toll-free reopening of the highly strategic Strait of Hormuz. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Qasem Garibabadi stated that the permanent end of all military operations on all fronts, strictly including Lebanon, represents a non-negotiable foundational element of the agreement. This diplomatic breakthrough aims to decisively lower regional tensions and restore the critical flow of global oil supplies. Vocabulary. Confirm. Verb. 확정하다, 공식 확인하다. The White House confirmed the date of the summit. Turning point. Noun. 전환점. The invention of the internet was a major turning point. Goodwill. Noun. 선의, 호의. He released the prisoners as a gesture of goodwill. Naval blockade. Noun. 해상 봉쇄. The Navy imposed a strict naval blockade on the ports. Strategic. Adjective. 전략적인. The island is located in a highly strategic position. Non-negotiable. Adjective. 타협할 수 없는, 필수적인. Wearing a seatbelt is non-negotiable for safety. Breakthrough. Noun. 돌파구, 큰 발전. Scientists made a major breakthrough in cancer research. Restore. Verb. 회복시키다, 복구하다. The city is trying to restore the damaged historical building. 시사용어 해설. Naval blockade. 해상 봉쇄. 적대적인 국가의 항구 주변에 군함을 배치하여 배들이 드나들지 못하게 막는 군사작전입니다. 물자 수입과 원유 수출을 막아 경제를 마비시키는 것이 주된 목적입니다. Strait of Hormuz, 호르무즈 해협. 중동의 산유국들이 수출하는 원유의 30% 이상이 지나가는 페르시아만 입구의 좁은 바닷길입니다. 이곳이 막히면 전 세계 기름값이 폭등하게 됩니다. 6.2.
Vibrant celebrations at the Hangzhou Shishi Dragon Boat Festival. The vibrant 2026 Hangzhou Shishi Dragon Boat Cultural Festival successfully concluded in eastern China's Zhejiang province, drawing enthusiastic crowds. The scenic wetland waters were filled with colorful traditional dragon boats, adorned with bright flags and elaborate banners. A unique highlight of the festival featured talented artists performing traditional cultural acts directly aboard the boats, effectively turning the vessels into floating stages. Beyond blending tradition with community fun through local village super amateur races, the event showcased significant global appeal. An international dragon boat race brought together fierce competitors from over 20 nations, including paddlers from Russia, the US, and the UK, who paddled with powerful strokes toward the finish line. Vocabulary. Vibrant. Adjective. 활기찬, 생동감 넘치는. The city is known for its vibrant street art. Conclude. Verb. 끝나다, 마무리하다. The formal meeting concluded at 5 p.m. Scenic. Adjective. 경치가 좋은. We drove along a very scenic coastal route. Adorn. Verb. 장식하다, 꾸미다. The hall was adorned with beautiful flowers. Elaborate. Adjective. 정교한, 공들인. The bride wore an elaborate white dress. Vessel. Noun. 대형배, 선박. The cargo vessel sank in the deep ocean. Fierce. Adjective. 치열한, 맹렬한. The two companies are in fierce competition. Paddler. Noun. 무 젓는 사람. The paddler navigated the canoe through the rapids. 시사 용어 해설. 문화기사이므로 어려운 경제 용어는 없지만 wetland, 습지는 물과 육지의 경계에 있는 생태계로 자연정화 기능이 뛰어나 환경적으로 매우 중요하게 여겨지는 지역을 뜻합니다.
6.3. China and Myanmar agree to deepen pragmatic cooperation. China and Myanmar have formally agreed to deepen their pragmatic cooperation across the board, signaling a strengthening of bilateral ties. This comprehensive agreement encompasses various sectors, including political alignment, economic trade, and substantial infrastructure investments under China's Belt and Road Initiative. The strategic move highlights Beijing's ongoing commitment to maintaining a robust relationship with Myanmar's ruling military junta, despite widespread international condemnation and sanctions directed at the regime. By solidifying its influence in the neighboring country, China secures vital trade routes and access to critical minerals, while Myanmar gains a crucial economic lifeline amid its growing global isolation. Vocabulary. Pragmatic. Adjective. 실용적인. The team took a pragmatic approach to solve the problem. Across the board. Adverbial phrase. 전반적으로, 전면적으로. The company cut costs across the board. Bilateral. Adjective. 양국의, 쌍방의. The leaders signed a new bilateral trade agreement. Encompass. Verb. 아우르다, 포함하다. The curriculum encompasses various subjects like art and math. Condemnation. Noun. 비난, 규탄. The terrorist attack drew swift international condemnation. Sanction. Noun. 국제적 제재. The UN imposed economic sanctions on the rogue state. Solidify. Verb. 확고히 하다. The new evidence solidified the lawyer's case. Lifeline. Noun. 생명선, 구명줄. The government grant was a lifeline for the struggling charity. 시사용어 해설. Pragmatic cooperation. 실용적 협력. 이념이나 민주주의 같은 정치적 가치관을 떠나 자국에 철저히 도움이 되는 경제적 이익이나 자원 개발 등에 초점을 맞춘 외교적 협력 방식을 의미합니다. Sanction. 제재. 국제법이나 인권을 위반한 국가에 대해 다른 국가들이 연합하여 수출입을 금지하거나 자금을 묶어버리는 경제적, 외교적 처벌을 뜻합니다. Number 7. NHK World Japan. Number 7. 1. Aung San Suu Kyi turns 81 under strict house arrest. Myanmar's ousted civilian leader and Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi turned 81 years old while remaining tightly detained under house arrest by the country's military junta. Since the military seized power in the February 2021 coup,
She has been held largely incommunicado, serving an 18-year sentence derived from politically motivated trials. Currently, independent observers, the Red Cross, and her family have been denied any physical access to verify her precise whereabouts or declining health condition. In response to this draconian isolation, her son, Kim Aris, has spearheaded an international 81 for 81 campaign. This global movement demands that the ruling generals provide credible proof of life and calls on regional bodies like ASEAN to exert coordinated diplomatic pressure for her unconditional release. Vocabulary. Oust. Verb. 축출하다, 내쫓다. The dictator was ousted from power by the military. Laureate. Noun. 수상자. He is a Nobel laureate in physics. Incommunicado. Adjective. Adverb. 외부와 단절된. The suspect was held incommunicado for 2 days. Motivated. Adjective. 동기가 부여된, 정치적 의도를 띤. The attack was highly politically motivated. Whereabouts. Noun. 소재, 행방. The exact whereabouts of the stolen painting remain unknown. Draconian. Adjective. 매우 가혹한, 엄격한. The government introduced draconian laws to control the press. Spearhead. Verb. 선봉에 서다, 주도하다. She will spearhead the new environmental initiative. Coordinated. Adjective. 조직화된, 합동해. The Allies launched a coordinated attack. 시사용어 해설. 훈타, 군사정권. 라틴어에서 유래한 말로 선거 같은 민주적 절차를 무시하고 무력을 동원해 쿠데타로 정부를 전복시킨 뒤 권력을 장악한 군부 세력들의 모임을 가리킵니다. Proof of life. 생존 증명.
7.2. Japan analyst questions efficacy of interest rate hike on prices. Economic analysts in Japan are strongly questioning whether the Bank of Japan's recent interest rate hike will successfully rein in climbing consumer prices. Observers forecast a sharp jump in Tokyo's Consumer Price Index, CPI, which serves as a critical bellwether for nationwide inflation trends. This impending spike is largely attributed to the looming expiration of vital government energy subsidies, combined with the ripple effect of elevated crude oil prices hitting everyday consumer goods. Although raising interest rates is a traditional tool to cool inflation, experts argue that external factors heavily drive Japan's current price surges. Consequently, without substantial real wage growth, the relentless inflation is expected to continue squeezing household budgets. Vocabulary. Efficacy. Noun. 효험, 효력. Researchers are testing the efficacy of the new drug. Rein in. Phrasal verb. 억제하다, 통제하다. The manager tried to rein in spending. Bellwether. Noun. 선행지표, 전조. Retail sales are a good bellwether of the economy. Impending. Adjective. 임박한, 곧 일어날. We prepared for the impending storm. Expiration. Noun. 만료, 종결. Check the expiration date on your passport. Subsidy. Noun. 보조금, 장려금. Farmers receive an annual government subsidy. Ripple effect. Noun. 파급 효과. The bank's collapse had a ripple effect across the market. Squeeze. Verb. 쥐어짜다, 쪼들리게 하다. High inflation continues to squeeze the middle class. 시사용어 해설. CPI, Consumer Price Index, 소비자 물가지수. 일반 가정이 일상생활을 유지하기 위해 구입하는 쌀, 옷, 교통비, 전기세 등 주요 상품과 서비스의 가격 변동을 종합적으로 측정한 수치로 물가가 얼마나 올랐는지 인플레이션을 재는 핵심 지표입니다. Ripple effect, 파급 효과. 호수에 돌을 던지면 물결이 퍼져나가듯 하나의 경제적 사건, 예, 원유 가격 상승, 2. 공장 생산비 증가, 배송비 인상을 거쳐 결국 마트의 과자 가격까지 올리는 연쇄적인 파장을 뜻합니다.
7.3. Chinese robots are winning over Japanese factories. In a surprising shift in global manufacturing dynamics, cutting-edge industrial robots from China are increasingly winning over factories in Japan. Facing an acute labor shortage and mounting operational costs, Japanese manufacturers are looking for highly efficient automation solutions. They are finding that low-cost yet highly advanced Chinese robotic systems offer unparalleled value and performance. This trend indicates that Japan, historically revered as an undisputed powerhouse in robotics and precision engineering, is now proving to be a prime market for imported Chinese technological equipment. Analysts observe that Chinese robotics firms have vastly improved their quality control, successfully breaking down the long-standing technological dominance previously held by Japanese legacy brands. Vocabulary. Dynamics. Noun. 역학관계. 원동력. We studied the political dynamics of the region. Cutting edge. Adjective. 최첨단의. The hospital uses cutting-edge medical technology. Acute. Adjective. 심각한, 극심한, 급성해. The village is suffering from an acute water shortage. Automation. Noun. 자동화. Factory automation has reduced the need for manual labor. Unparalleled. Adjective. 비할 데 없는 전대미문의. The athlete showed unparalleled dedication to the sport. Revere. Verb. 존경하다, 숭배하다. Nelson Mandela is revered as a global icon of peace. Undisputed. Adjective. 반박의 여지가 없는, 명실상부한. She is the undisputed champion of the world. Legacy. 명사, 형용사. 유산, 기업 등이 전통적인. The company's legacy systems are too old to update. 시사 용어 해설. Labor shortage, 노동력 부족. 고령화나 인구 감소 등의 원인으로 공장이나 기업에서 일할 사람, 노동력을 구하기가 매우 힘든 현상을 의미합니다. 일본과 한국이 겪고 있는 가장 큰 사회, 경제적 문제 중 하나입니다. 프리시전 엔지니어링, 정밀공학. 오차가 거의 나지 않도록 아주 세밀하게 부품을 깎고 조립하여 높은 완성도를 요구하는 기계나 로봇을 만드는 산업 분야를 말합니다.
8. AlJazeera.com 8.1. Tehran says U.S. must ensure Israel ends attacks on Lebanon. Amidst volatile conditions in the Middle East, Iran has firmly stated that the United States bears the fundamental responsibility to ensure Israel ceases all military attacks on Lebanon. Iranian officials emphasize that any viable diplomatic resolution hinges entirely on bringing the war to an end on all fronts simultaneously. Analysts note that Tehran views the U.S.'s ability to rein in Israeli operations as a critical litmus test for the credibility of the broader U.S.-Iran peace agreement. A senior Iranian diplomat expressed deep skepticism, asking if Washington is not able to stop Israel from attacking Lebanon, who will guarantee that in the future Israel won't attack Iran itself? Consequently, Iranian authorities remain highly vigilant, closely monitoring whether the fragile ceasefire will genuinely hold. Vocabulary. Volatile. Adjective. 불안정한, 변동성이 큰. The stock market has been highly volatile recently. Hinge on. Phrasal verb. 뭐뭐에 전적으로 달려있다. The success of the deal hinges on his approval. Simultaneously. Adverb. 동시에. The two explosions happened almost simultaneously.
Rein in. Phrasal verb. 억제하다, 통제하다. The government is trying to rein in public debt. Litmus test. Noun. 진정한 시험대. 리트머스 시험지. This election is a litmus test for the new president. Credibility. Noun. 신뢰성. The lie completely destroyed the witness's credibility. Vigilant. Adjective. 바짝 경계하는, 방심하지 않는. Parents must be vigilant about their children's safety. Fragile. Adjective. 깨지기 쉬운, 취약한. The fragile peace treaty could easily be broken. 시사용어 해설. Litmus test. 리트머스 시험대. 산성과 알칼리성을 판별하는 화학 실험 도구에서 유래하여
정치나 외교에서는 특정 정책이나 국가의 진정성과 의지를 명확하게 평가할 수 있는 결정적인 시험대를 비유적으로 이르는 말입니다. rein in, 고삐를 당겨 통제하다. 말의 고삐, rein을 당겨 속도나 방향을 억제한다는 뜻으로 미국이 막강한 영향력을 동원해 동맹국, 이스라엘의 군사적 독단 행동을 막고 제어하라는 의미로 쓰였습니다.
8-2. U.S. judge rejects Joe Biden's lawsuit asking to withhold memoir recordings. A U.S. federal judge has officially rejected a lawsuit filed by former President Joe Biden, which sought to withhold audio recordings related to his memoir. The legal dispute centered on whether the unedited audio files from interviews conducted with his ghostwriter should be protected from public or prosecutorial access under executive privilege. By throwing out the lawsuit, the court ruled that the recordings must be handed over, setting a significant legal precedent regarding the limits of post-presidential privacy. Critics have eagerly sought these tapes to scrutinize the former president's mental acuity and memory during the time the interviews were recorded. This judicial defeat opens the door for potential political fallout, as the raw audio could soon become available for public broadcast. Vocabulary. Reject. Verb. 거절하다, 기각하다. The committee rejected his proposal entirely. Withhold. Verb. 보류하다, 숨기다. The police decided to withhold the suspect's name. Memoir. Noun. 회고록, 전기. The former politician published a controversial memoir. Dispute. Noun. 분쟁, 논쟁. The border dispute lasted for over a century. Precedent. Noun. 선례, 판례. The judge's ruling set a dangerous legal precedent. Scrutinize. Verb. 면밀히 조사하다. The auditor scrutinized the company's financial records. Acuity. Noun. 예리함, 명민함. His mental acuity remained sharp even at age 90. Fallout. Noun. 방사능 낙진, 좋지 않은 파장. The political fallout from the scandal was immense. Executive privilege. 대통령 특권. 미국 대통령이 국가 안보나 행정부의 원활한 업무 수행을 위해 행정부 내부의 대화나 문서를 의회나 법원에 제출하지 않고 비밀로 유지할 수 있는 권리를 뜻합니다. Ghostwriter. 대필 작가. 유명한 정치인이나 연예인이 자신의 이름으로 책을 낼 때 그들의 이야기를 바탕으로 대신 글을 매끄럽게 써주는 전문 작가를 말합니다.
8-3. Petrol shortages and oil rain bring Ukraine war home to Moscow. The harsh realities of the protracted Ukraine war have dramatically hit close to home for Russian citizens, as Ukraine launched a major drone assault on a massive refinery in Moscow. The unprecedented attack caused catastrophic explosions at the facility, severely disrupting the capital's energy infrastructure. Following the massive blasts, local residents reported the surreal and toxic phenomenon of oil rain, as vaporized petroleum particles fell from the sky onto homes and vehicles. Compounding the environmental hazards, the destruction has triggered sudden and severe petrol shortages across Moscow's filling stations. This aggressive counterstrike by Ukraine has shattered the illusion of safety in the Russian capital, bringing the economic and psychological costs of the conflict directly to its residents' doorsteps. Vocabulary. Protracted. Adjective. 오래 끄는, 지연된. The protracted war destroyed the country's economy. Assault. Noun, verb. 맹공격, 폭행. The military launched a massive assault at dawn. Refinery. Noun. 정유공장. The oil refinery processes crude oil into gasoline. Catastrophic. Adjective. 재앙적인, 파멸적인. The earthquake had catastrophic consequences. Surreal. Adjective. 초현실적인, 기이한. Walking through the empty city felt surreal. Vaporize. Verb. 증발시키다, 기화하다. The intense heat vaporized the liquid instantly. Hazard. Noun. 위험, 요소. Uncovered wires are a serious fire hazard. Shatter. Verb. 산산조각내다, 박살내다.
The loud noise shattered the classroom windows. 시사용어 해설. Refinery, 정유공장 시설. 땅에서 막 캐낸 새카만 원유, crude oil를 끓이고 가공하여 우리가 자동차에 넣는 휘발유, 경유, 등유 등으로 깨끗하게 정제해내는 거대한 산업시설입니다. 페트롤 쇼티지, 휘발유 품귀 현상. 페트롤은 영국식 영어로 휘발유, 가솔린을 뜻하며 전쟁이나 사고로 인해 주유소에서 공급할 휘발유가 턱없이 부족해져 줄을 서도 기름을 구하지 못하는 경제적 혼란 상황입니다. 9. CBC Canada 9.1 Inuit could pursue foreign partners if relationship with Ottawa sours. During an Arctic sovereignty conference in Ottawa, Nathan Obed, president of the National Inuit Organization Inuit Tapirit Kanatami, ITK, urged the federal government to treat the Inuit as respected, equal partners. Obed stressed that Canada must properly acknowledge Inuit rights to governance and self-determination regarding the rapidly changing Arctic region. Although he affirmed that Ottawa remains the preferred partner, he issued a stark diplomatic warning. If the government marginalizes their voices on critical issues like defense and resource extraction, the Inuit may actively seek out foreign governments or international investors. Obed clarified that this is not an empty threat, but rather a practical consideration to leverage their strategic homeland assets amidst growing global interest in the high north. Vocabulary. Sovereignty. Noun. 주권, 통치권. The island nation fiercely defended its sovereignty. Self-determination. Noun. 민족 자결권, 자기결정. The treaty recognizes their right to self-determination. Affirm. Verb. 단언하다, 확인하다. The official affirmed that the border would remain open. Stark. Adjective. 냉혹한, 단호한. The report provided a stark warning about the climate. Marginalize. Verb. 소외시키다, 주류에서 몰아내다. We must not marginalize indigenous communities. Extraction. Noun. 채굴, 추출. Resource extraction can harm the local ecosystem. Leverage. Verb. 지렛대 삼아 활용하다. She managed to leverage her contacts to get a job. Clarify. Verb. 명확히 하다, 해명하다. I need you to clarify exactly what you mean. 시사용어 해설. Sovereignty. 주권. 영토를 지배하고 외교를 맺을 수 있는 국가의 최고 권력입니다. 강대국들이 북극해의 자원과 항로를 노리는 상황에서 북극 주권, Arctic sovereignty는 누구의 바다와 땅인지 정하는 매우 민감한 국제 정치 문제입니다. Self-determination. 민족 자결권, 자기 결정. 외부 강대국의 간섭 없이 특정 민족이 스스로 자신들의 정치적 형태, 독립국가, 자치구 등, 그리고 경제 운영 방식을 결정할 수 있는 권리를 뜻합니다.
9.2 Amalgamated Transit Union rallies around assaulted Calgary bus driver. Members of the Amalgamated Transit Union organized a significant rally in front of Calgary City Hall on June 19 to support a colleague who fell victim to a vicious attack. Amarjeet Grewal, a local bus driver, was violently assaulted by passengers the previous month while performing his daily duties. Surrounded by hundreds of supportive colleagues, Grewal attended the rally but remains off work due to the lasting physical and psychological trauma inflicted by the assault. The public demonstration aimed to highlight the increasing daily dangers faced by frontline transit workers. Union leaders are urgently demanding enhanced security measures on public transit systems and stricter judicial sentencing for individuals who perpetrate violence against drivers. Vocabulary. Amalgamated. Adjective. 연합된, 합병된. The two small banks formed an amalgamated corporation. Rally. Noun. 집회, 결집. Thousands of people attended the peace rally. Colleague. Noun. 동료. She discussed the project with her colleagues. Vicious. Adjective. 잔인한, 악랄한. He suffered a vicious attack on his way home. Assault. Verb. Noun. 폭행하다, 폭력. The police arrested a man for physical assault. Inflict. Verb.
고통 등을 가하다. The hurricane inflicted severe damage on the coast. Perpetrate, verb, 범죄를 저지르다. The police caught the gang who perpetrated the robbery. Sentencing, noun, 형량 선고. The judge will announce the sentencing tomorrow. 시사용어 해설. Union, 노동조합. 같은 직종에서 일하는 노동자들이 임금 인상, 근로조건 개선, 안전보장 등을 위해 스스로 결성한 권리단체입니다. Judicial sentencing, 법적, 사법적 형량 선고. 재판을 통해 판사가 범죄자에게 징역, 벌금 등의 처벌 수준, 형량을 공식적으로 결정하여 내리는 행위를 말합니다.
9.3. Canadians rally around injured soccer star Ismail Kone. A wave of national support is sweeping across Canada for soccer star Ismail Kone as he begins his difficult recovery from a severe injury. The talented midfielder suffered a devastating broken leg during Canada's thrilling World Cup victory over Qatar. Despite losing a key playmaker early in the match, the short-handed Canadian squad rallied together to completely dismantle the Qatari defense, eventually crushing them 6-0. Kone underwent immediate surgery to repair the fracture and is currently resting off the field. In response to the tragic accident, Canadian fans, fellow athletes, and sports commentators have flooded social media with heartwarming messages, showing immense solidarity and wishing him a speedy rehabilitation. Vocabulary. Sweep. Verb. 휩쓸다, 번지다. A new trend is sweeping across the nation. Devastating. Adjective. 대단히 파괴적인, 치명적인. The town was hit by a devastating earthquake. Short-handed. Adjective. 인력이 부족한. The restaurant was short-handed due to a flu outbreak. Dismantle. Verb. 분해하다, 무너뜨리다. The mechanic dismantled the engine to fix it. Crush. Verb. 짓밟다, 대파하다. Our team crushed the opponents 5-0. Fracture. Noun/verb. 골절, 부러지다. The X-ray showed a slight bone fracture. Solidarity. Noun. 연대, 결속. The citizens showed great solidarity during the crisis. Rehabilitation. Noun. 재활, 갱생. He is undergoing physical rehabilitation for his knee. 스포츠 뉴스이므로 전문 경제 용어는 없으나 short-handed, 수적 열세, 인력이 부족한은 스포츠 경기에서 퇴장이나 부상으로 인해 상대팀보다 뛰는 선수 숫자가 적어진 불리한 상황을 묘사할 때 자주 쓰입니다. 10. DD India, 10-1. PM Modi disperses 2,400 crore under PMVBRY for youth employment. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has officially disbursed approximately 2,400 crore rupees to bolster the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana, PMVBRY, a massive employment-linked incentive scheme. This strategic initiative directly transfers financial assistance to both first-time employees and the enterprises that hire them, successfully generating over 1.5 million job opportunities so far. Addressing stakeholders, Modi emphasized that employment creation gains unprecedented momentum when the government, industry, and the youth operate in tandem. He highlighted India's impressive demographic dividend and pointed to the rapid expansion of emerging sectors like artificial intelligence, drones, and the gig economy. Currently boasting over 200,000 registered startups, this comprehensive employment drive reflects Modi's broader mission to transform India into a fully developed nation. Vocabulary. Disperse. Verb. 자금을 집행하다, 지불하다. The bank will disperse the loan tomorrow. Bolster. Verb. 강화하다, 지지하다. We need more evidence to bolster the argument. Initiative. Noun. 주도권. 새로운 계획. The government launched a green energy initiative. Stakeholder. Noun. 이해관계자. The manager held a meeting with all key stakeholders. In tandem. Adverbial phrase. 나란히, 협력하여. The two engines work in tandem to power the ship. Demographic. Adjective/noun. 인구 통계학에. The changing demographic patterns affect the economy. Dividend. Noun. 배당금. 예상치 못한 이익. The company paid a high dividend to its shareholders. Comprehensive. Adjective. 포괄적인, 종합적인. The school offers a comprehensive curriculum. 능동장 시사용어 해설. Demographic dividend. 인구 보너스 배당 효과.
국가의 전체 인구 중에서 돈을 벌어 세금을 내는 젊은 생산 가능 인구 15에서 64세의 비율이 높아져 경제가 폭발적으로 성장할 수 있는 유리한 조건을 뜻합니다. gig economy, 기경제. 기업들이 정규직을 채용하지 않고 음식 배달 기사나 프리랜서 디자이너처럼 필요할 때마다 임시직으로 단기 계약을 맺어 노동력을 활용하는 형태의 경제 생태계입니다.
Number 10. 2. PM Modi addresses Indian diaspora gathering in Paris. During his diplomatic visit to Paris to attend the Viva Tech 2026 Technology Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a large and enthusiastic gathering of the Indian diaspora. In his vibrant speech, Modi reflected on India's transformative trajectory over the past 12 years, asserting that the nation has evolved into the world's fastest-growing major economy. He proudly cited remarkable statistics, including a doubling of the national GDP, a 35-fold increase in exports, and the successful lifting of 250 million citizens out of poverty. Modi praised the expatriate community for brilliantly representing India's rich cultural diversity, from Tamil to Punjabi, and acting as a crucial bridge strengthening the strategic partnership between New Delhi and Paris. He also highlighted the expanding Indo-French cooperation in frontier technologies like AI and space exploration. Vocabulary. Diaspora. Noun. Diaspora. 타국에 퍼져 사는 교민. The Irish diaspora has spread across the globe. Trajectory. Noun. 궤적. 발전 과정. The missile changed its trajectory in midair. Evolve. Verb. 진화하다. 점진적으로 발전하다. The small business evolved into a global corporation. Cite. Verb. 인용하다. 이유를 들다. He cited several experts to prove his point. Expatriate. Noun. Adjective. 국외 거주자. The city has a large community of American expatriates. Diversity. Noun. 다양성. The school is proud of its cultural diversity. Frontier. Adjective. Noun. 최첨단의. 국경. AI is considered the new frontier of computer science. Exploration. Noun. 탐사. 탐구. Space exploration has advanced rapidly in recent years. 시사용어 해설. Diaspora. Diaspora. 해외 교민. 본래 유대인들이 세계 곳곳으로 흩어진 것을 뜻하는 역사적 용어였으나 현대 국제정치에서는 자국을 떠나 다른 나라에 정착해 살면서도 고국의 정체성을 유지하는 막강한 교민사회 전체를 지칭합니다. GDP, Gross Domestic Product, 국내 통생산. 한 나라의 국경 안에서 1년 동안 새롭게 만들어진 모든 상품과 서비스의 시장 가치를 합친 금액입니다. 한 국가의 전반적인 경제 규모를 재는 가장 기본적인 성적표입니다. 10.3. President Murmu and PM Modi to unveil massive development projects in Odisha. Indian President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi are scheduled to jointly visit the eastern state of Odisha to officially inaugurate a massive wave of regional development projects. The highly anticipated visit will feature the foundation stone laying and unveiling of infrastructure initiatives valued at a staggering 47,600 crore. These comprehensive projects span across critical sectors, including clean energy grids, robust road connectivity, safe drinking water, and modernized healthcare facilities. Government officials noted that a key priority of this immense investment is to accelerate socioeconomic empowerment, specifically in rural and marginalized tribal regions like the Mayurbhanj district. By heavily investing in education, skill development centers, and irrigation, the administration aims to seamlessly integrate these historically isolated communities into India's mainstream economic growth. Vocabulary. Jointly. Adverb. 공동으로. 연대하여. The report was jointly published by 2 universities. Inaugurate. Verb. 개시하다. 취임하게 하다. The mayor will inaugurate the new public library. Foundation stone. Noun. 건축의 초석. 정초. He laid the foundation stone for the new hospital. Staggering. Adjective. 충격적인. 엄청난. The cost of the repairs was a staggering $50,000. Robust. Adjective. 튼튼한. 강력한. The economy showed robust growth this quarter. Marginalized. Adjective. 소외된. 주류에서 밀려난. Programs must help the most marginalized members of society. Irrigation. Noun. 관계. 농사에 물을 대는 것. The new irrigation system helped save the crops during the drought. Integrate. Verb. 통합하다. 융합하다. The new students were quickly integrated into the class. 시사용어 해설. Socioeconomic empowerment. 사회 경제적 역량 강화, 권한 부여.
빈곤층이나 소외계층이 스스로 자립할 수 있도록 교육 기회를 제공하고 일자리와 돈을 벌 수 있는 길, 인프라를 열어주어 사회적 지위를 높여주는 정책적 행동을 뜻합니다. Foundation Stone, 초석. 원래는 건물을 지을 때 가장 밑바탕이 되는 첫 번째 도를 의미하며 정치경제 기사에서는 어떤 거대한 계획이나 프로젝트의 뼈대를 알리는 공식적인 착공식의 의미로 쓰입니다.